Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to build a complete application from end to end. We're going to use this amazing application called Lovable.dev. Let me tell you what application we are going to build. This is a financial management template that I have built around an year back, which is pretty good. You can put in your expenses, your income, your investments. And this is something that I shared with all of my friends. Some of them used it, some of them didn't, but it's something that I use a lot. And this is great. Another thing that I have seen a lot of YouTubers doing, like some of the famous ones are Ankur Warikoo, and another guy who keeps using multiple different Google Sheet templates and keeps using this to help people on maintaining their finances. So what I thought of, why not build an application out of it? Why not build something that everyone can use in a simpler manner rather than an Excel sheet? Because every time you see a blank Excel sheet, you get a bit overwhelmed. And we're going to make this free. So let's come to this one, right? Now, what I've written here on this prompt in ChatGPT, now I can't show you the whole prompt because it will not be super great. So I'm going to show it to you here. Very simply, I'm going to make ChatGPT convert into a product manager. I've given a simple persona, act as a fintech product manager who has expertise in building beautiful applications like Cred. Now, if you don't know what Cred is an amazing company in India which has like a beautiful fintech app. It's really good. Again, the use cases are very different, but it's a really, really beautiful application. One of the best designs that ever exists. We are going to ask you to build a technical PRD. Right now, what is PRD? It's product requirement documentation. When you are using Lovable, you have to think of Lovable as a developer. You have to tell it exactly what you want it done. But if you tell it what needs to be done, it gets it done extremely good. So we're just going to ask build a technical PRD. In terms of backend, we are going to be using Supabase. I'm going to tell you what does that mean. You don't need to get worried about this. Frontend, we are going to use TypeScript. Why is that? Because again, we have Lovable already built on TypeScript, and then I have all the features that I want in the application. For example, tracking balances across multiple categories. Then I have an option that they should be able to add balances every month. For example, if you have made an investment of another 1 lakh or 50,000 or 60,000, you can invest that also. Again, I have attached a couple of examples and given an example. Then again, I have multiple options where you can set goals. So in the template, I have a goals option where you can set goals. Okay, you want to maybe save up for a laptop, for a mobile, vacation trip or something like that. I wanted to also create a complete dashboard, right? And this is where I would given showcase how much returns are you getting? Can we have an investment calculator or something like that? Similar to what I have in this Excel sheet, build it accordingly. I have a couple of more options. I'll show you how these features come up. And I've just finally said it, create a detailed PRD implementing all the features with design principles, making money management simple, and with inviting colors and aesthetic design. Now, if you want this prompt, it's going to be there in the link in the description. So you can go ahead and copy paste this with your different features. So you're going to come here, come back to ChatGPT. I have selected the O1 model because it's just better and it was going to think for a second because there is a lot of data to process. Right? So if I move myself here, you can start seeing that, it's already started thinking. It's going to take a couple of minutes. I'm going to just show you what does the response actually come out to be. Okay, so ChatGPT has started writing this. Again, I had to make a small change. I gave an option for currency conversion. So for example, if you are in US, you want it to be in US dollars. If you're in Europe, you want it in euros. So it gave an you have to use an API. I said, I don't want an API. I just give it simple, very simply make it I don't want to convert. I just want to select which currency I'm going to use. This is extremely detailed. You have the user stories here, how it's going to use every feature, budgeting, dashboard, how your user might be using this, what are the key features required, right? A budget planner, a goal setting plan, a dashboard. They have taken what we wanted and defined it into much more detailed stuff. That's what PRD is, right? It's a very detailed documentation of everything. I just want to quickly show you that this is super good. They've also built the data model, so you have all the options that we will need to give a developer, that developer can then use it. I'm not going to make it super complex on how we're going to set up the backend or the front end. We're going to start with some simple stuff and then slowly and steadily pump ourselves up to the next level. So we're just going to take this, right? I'm just going to copy this. I should change some stuff there, but I'm just going to keep it simple because if you're not an expert on building products, you should not need to do the extra hard work. Let AI do the hard work and you can improve from there. So let's come to this. Based on this PRD, create an application. But I don't want to just do this. I also want to create a plan to build this application. Now, if you see here, they have ChatGPT has already given us a plan. You have a detailed plan with milestones and everything, right? So when something should happen and everything, I'm going to remove this because the point is giving this PRD to a human developer where you need to test and all of this, but this is AI, right? This is an AI-based developer and this developer does not need any time, right? It should be able to do everything itself. So I'm just going to ask, create a plan to build this application and say yes. Now, why do I do this step? Because this step helps AI figure out how to build every component and reduces the amount of errors in the long term, right? If you see, it has started building the application. It has started building the application with also a plan, right? So one of the best things is now it also knows, AI also knows how am I going to execute each step. So just by adding one line, you've improved the amount of time to solve bugs or figure out how it's going to all come together. And you can just make AI do stuff one after another. So it's going to take, you can say, a couple of minutes for the first application to run. If someone has to build this, it will take them roughly a week. If they are a crazy developer, a normal average developer will take around 2 to 3 weeks to build this in the right way. So just imagine the power of AI and amazing action that you can build. Let's look at it. It's literally loaded up in real time. And you can see that it's already coming together, right? Does it look great? Not a lot right now. But you have the portfolio, the dashboard. Is this clickable? Right now, I don't think so. It's just build index budget. You can see from the top, right? So you have the budget, the goals. I think it's just come up with a very simple architecture, and that's where you have to start with, right? Now, I was not really vibing with the designs. I have another application which I built using Lovable, which has much better design. So I've just taken this and told it, take this as a design inspiration. You can come here and attach a file, literally attach any kind of image which you wanted to take an inspiration or design from. You can also design your application in Figma and bring it here. The navbar should be at the top instead of as a sidebar, and also change the design. Use pop-ins as a font. Fonts really change the design a lot. So whenever you're talking to Lovable, literally talk to it as a developer. Don't talk of it in the format the same way we were doing it as ChatGPT. In ChatGPT, you can be a bit more exploratory, right? You can tell it, this is what I want, or an idea that I want. I am literally just telling, this is what I exactly want. Here is a design inspiration for fonts. Update this, use pop-ins, and change the colors also if I wanted to, right? I'm not given colors because I go down a rabbit hole which we'll never end up at. I am super bad with colors. So let it just do this. And if you can see, it has given us the options what it's going to do. Moving the navigation to the top, adding pop-ins fonts, matching the layout, and creating a proper goals page with the requested styling. So you can start seeing the code also. We are not going to go into this technicality. We'll fix all of that in a bit. I'm not going to cover this part of the tutorial. It's using pop-ins. It just has become more bigger because we have the navbar at the top. For the portfolio, budget, and goals section, I don't think it's working right now. Even portfolio is probably at the same page. One thing to remember is whichever page you have selected, Lovable thinks that you have to edit that page only. Okay, so you will see that right now there is nothing built, right? Again, even I don't know, the goals page is not built, budget page is not built, and we're going to start doing that as we go ahead. So first things, what I want to do is, okay, let's go to next step and build out the portfolio page. Okay, what I'm going to do is, okay, let's go to the next step and build out the, if you see, there is no budget page right now. You can just select that. So what is the next step? The next step is we are going to build out the budget page as described in the PRD. Once we build all the pages, we'll build Google sign-in and the backend. Why do I like to do this? Is because once you build out the front end, you will also want to modify a lot of things, right? So again, once you modify things and everything, at the end, adding Supabase just works better, because you have to keep updating the backend a lot of times. Now again, if these words sound crazy to you if you have not worked in tech, very simply, till the time it is being built, front end is what you're seeing. This is how the data is going to look for. The backend where the data is stored, like a database. And to update that, you see the small button here, Supabase. We're going to use that later in the tutorial. So yeah. Okay, it finally built it, but again, there is an issue. It edited the code, but I can't see anything. It has created this amazing code, but it has not updated, this, again, redirection of the pages. So I'm just going to say all the pages are not connected to their respective icons. I have to talk to it as a developer. If you start talking to it and it's again, there is some issue or XYZ, that does not work. You see some issue, you just tell it that it's not connected. It has automatically seen the roots are not defined and app.tsx. And again, you don't have to even know what does that mean. Just tell it exactly what you wanted and what is the problem there. And that's one of the features that you really need to remember when you're talking, because it's very different than talking to another AI tool. It's a completely new thing. Can I come to budget? It's still on index. Right? And that's one thing, right? It's not working still. All the pages are not properly connected. If I click portfolio, I come to investment portfolio, I come to goals, I come to dashboard. So the pages are connected, but it has not built the option to add items. There is no way to add expenses and income tracking in the budget page. Build that functionality. Right now, it's just showing stuff. If you go to portfolio, you can see total invested and everything. Even in the goals page, there's nothing. And this happens. It's good that it's happening right now, even when we have given it such a detailed PRD. stuff will break. Just remember that. Maybe the tracking is not right, or there's something else, or it has just understood that we are trying to build a dashboard. Even after you do this, you have to make sure that you build every component out. The only thing is you can always keep referring to the PRD so that it can also just go back and see, okay, this is what was referred, and I can just build that more properly. Because you can see right now, I just have to say there is no way to add expenses and tracking, and it will start adding everything automatically because it already has context on what we are trying to build. Finally, you can add an income and expense. I added myself. If I add an income, let's say YouTube, please like and subscribe so I can add this as an income. It's literally zero right now. But if I add income, and you can start seeing, like, it adds my total income. So I have added like an example of salary and something. You can even edit this. You can see nothing working, right? Deleting, working. Edit does not work. So we can ask it to actually make that work also. But does this work? No, no. But you can delete and expand. Some features are built, some features are not built, as any application, right? But this is great. We have finally got the budget overview. But there are a couple of things I would like to change. Like, I would want it in a list format rather than adding one by one, because it takes a lot of time. But that's fine. Again, you can tweak the application later. But this is still great. Let's just ask it to add one more thing. Allow users to edit their income and expenses. Right now, they can delete it, but not edit. Not edit something that they have added. So again, very simply, I'm asking just make sure the edit functionality works, right? So again, you can, with this button should work. Again, it should not be like something that does not work on the screen. You can tweak it in the way you want, but this looks amazing. Literally, just imagine this took us roughly around another 10 minutes to build the first page. How are we going to build this in 20 minutes? Let me show you. It's going to be fast, because after this is super cool that you are able to build this in literally minutes, and that's crazy. Next step, I want to build the goals part and then the portfolio, because I think that's going to take the most amount of time. So we're going to first quickly sign off on goals and then go to portfolio and finally connect it all in the dashboard format. Okay, perfect. Done. Let's see. Okay, it refreshed everything. So add income, salary, and I'm going to add $300. Let's say add income, and can I edit? Perfect. So update income. Okay, so it's not picking up the data right now. Again, I can go ahead and ask it to simply change that. That's one of the features that you can see. Let's say I want to edit this specific thing, right? I can actually not even select this, but just click on edit. It works now, right? So it was not working before because I was seeing, like, why does not it put salary automatically there, but it does now, right? So again, if I add income, another freelance, and I add $50, right? And if I come back here, you can see, and can I edit this? It again shows back the same code. So what you can do is select this, right? For example, I clicked freelance, and it still shows salary information. And this is how, like, you have to keep reiterating, but you don't have to write code. Again, you just have to keep committing to the code. So if you see here, it's actually adding code. If you are a developer, you can go ahead and edit the code yourself and do that. Again, but this is just super cool that you don't have to, and you can just prompt it with enough time and then build an amazing application. Another thing that you will start noticing is that one particular file has got too big, like 128 lines. That's not crazy on a coding file thing, but that becomes crazy for Lovable because the amount of context that it has to manage. Again, I think this has started working. You can click, and perfect, works amazingly, and we are good to go. Let's come to the goals part, right? Build the goals page as described in the PRD. Right now, it only shows active goals, completed goals. There is no option to edit stuff, to add or edit goals and amounts. Now, one thing also, when I'm like, just the goals pages being built, one thing you can see is, like, it has put everything in dollars, right? I asked it specifically to make sure that the currency conversion should be there, right? So if that's not there, what I'll do is at the end, because that's a feature that has to be applied across the application, we can literally start saying at the end, everything needs to change, and you should have a currency drop down at the top right hand side. Let it just build this. I'm going to see what it comes up with on the financial goals part, because this is like super cool on the stuff that you can do. I can also ask it to add icons and stuff. So let's see what it comes up with. Perfect. It has added the goals part. Let's see. I want to, let's say, buy a phone, right? Target amount is, let's say, $100. Current amount is $20. And if I add a goal, and let's say I want to change the target date to, the best part of this is super cool. It has automatically added a date picker. It knows, it has some, like, understanding of that. So you can see it has added this particular thing. Can I add and change this and adjust the amount? This is so good, right? I am just super happy with this. You have target, how much money you have in the bank right now, and you can update this. Super cool, looks amazing. And it took us what, 2 minutes, guys? 2 minutes. Come on, we're gearing up, right? Now, the only thing is, amazing. It worked the first time. I was just thinking it won't work. You click complete and it shows completed goals. You can see there's nothing visible on the dashboard, right? I know why that has happened, but let's see. Let's come to the portfolio part. Now, let's build the portfolio functionality, allowing users to add multiple investment across different classes as defined in the PRD. Ensure the users can add monthly amounts and also show them their total investment and an ability to change their total investment current value. Showcase all the percentages as discussed in the PRD, right? We want to see the CAGR, we want to see the XIRRs and everything. Again, like that's super cool. Make sure you actually start showing that stuff, because I want it really to be super cool in how the portfolio looks, but people will actually use the application on a monthly basis. Your budget is not going to change every month, right? I wanted to build in the budget, maybe like, have a monthly budget, how much money you spend every month, how much money you earned, and what was the difference based on that, because that also helps you give a clear overview. Are you spending a bit over a month in some months, or you're spending a bit less? Okay, amazing. Now, another thing, it built something, but it's not working properly. You'll see this error option coming up. Do I need to understand this code? Absolutely not. I can just go ahead and click try to fix it. I will go ahead and start fixing it. Now, if you still are not able to fix it, you need some technical ability, but 99.9% of times I've never had to go ahead and see the code. It automatically starts fixing it. The best part is that every time you fix something, it's not counted towards your usage. It's free of cost, so you can keep fixing errors. Applications will break, software will break when you're building it, and that's great that they've made sure that it's free to fix bugs. The investment dialog file is super big, right? Again, build is unsuccessful, and it's probably going to do that a couple of times. So let's try to fix it. And I think this is going to eat into our time of building this, but that's okay. That's the reality of things. Okay, so again, when you're building this, you have to have some patience. When you actually have ever built an application for the first time, you will start seeing that it's really difficult to build applications. It's honestly not as easy as it takes time. You have to, you'll get a lot of errors. Even building this would probably take you a day, maybe just one page of it, right? If you're a super 10x developer, you don't need this, but most of us are not, and you have to build it in an iterative format. So let's see. Okay, so it's fixed the code. It has fixed a lot of things. Perfect. This looks amazing, right? Total invested current value total. Let's try to add, right? So again, asset class, I have a stock of Google, right? An initial amount is $100. Current value is $20. I'll make it 120, and I want to see a positive return on this. Let's see what happens if I want to add on a monthly basis, right? This shows my total investment value. I want to select mutual funds, right? Bonds, real estate. One thing you see, it stopped for remembering the PRT, because like there's a whole context window thing. So that's something that we can change and add. But again, I can select other, or I can just select crypto, right? Let's say Bitcoin. Let's say I bought Bitcoin at 100, monthly contribution is 20, and the current value is $50. What does it actually come to? Yeah, minus 15. That's great, because I actually wanted to see how much, does the negative part also work, or it's only working on the positive. Again, make sure that you test your application, but I still want to improve it a bit. I still really want to do a bit more. Okay, now this is a pretty interesting approach, because I have tried to do something a bit complex. So, right, very specifically, I said this is great, but I wanted to have a monthly contribution. Now, again, I can technically remove this. This is great, but again, it's just like talking normally, right? I wanted to have monthly contribution option. So that means I wanted to have two sections. One is your total asset class, how much money is invested in stocks, crypto, and everything. Another option where I can come every month and add my investment portfolio on top of it. Right now, it just shows me the total value. I don't want to keep seeing a list of things. I want to see complete cards with the return. So I've asked it to two sections. One section is with different asset classes, and another section which tracks the monthly investments, or however I'm buying it and I want to update it, I can do that, right? So again, you can also just come back here, complete it, and again, this is where you start seeing that it is a bit more iterative. Spend some time with it. So let's see how it works on this. That's also the reason you should always build the front end first, because now when we go back to building backend, let's say we would have built the database before, it would have taken us a lot of iterations, because it has to first execute the code here, then also go back and execute the code in Supabase, right? So that means it has to go back and update our database structures, which becomes a problem. Every time you do that, it adds another layer of time that it requires. So first build the front end, then finally we'll go ahead and say, let's start building the backend.
Okay, so a quick update. I was trying to do this and got into some errors. Like my message was sent multiple times, but we'll skip that and come to the next thing. If something like this happens, just wait for a bit and it'll automatically start going. It has added the investment class. So let's add Google. That's a class stocks, initial amount trade, monthly contribution, current value 120. This is still not exactly what I wanted because the point is like infinity percentage should not be like, a calculator because again, it does not know when I invested. But if I click on additional investment, say $25, $250, and select maybe like 17, and then you can see the current in value is less because I have added another additional. This is pretty cool, right? An XIR is right because it is just calculated using a different formula. So this is okay. Again, I will not say that this is great. So I want to still go ahead and update this. Update the total. So very specifically, I'm just describing create a history of update. I wanted to like show like, okay, when did I invest this, right? I add additional investment at what date? Where can I see the history? So that history needs to be maintained. I've just added an option just to let's see how an history page should look like. So you have investing in. I want to have a detailed look at my portfolio, right? I just don't want a very simple place. Like I just see, okay, I add the investment, but when did I add this investment? Is it monthly? And then we can put out the filters and everything. Again, but the idea is that build features one by one. And like, we're going to build incrementally every feature. But again, the budget feature was pretty good, simple one. Goals was again, as I told you, super simple. Portfolio is obviously the most tough one. And then again, building the dashboard is going to be a complex one because you have to bring everything together. Again, could be easier because it actually has to just bring in the final values and bring them here. Then we're going to build the landing page and the sign-in option and launch this. Okay, I've added an investment history and it's going to check just the investment history. Let's add again, right? Google stocks 100. Okay. Again, build unsuccessful. So I'm just going to go ahead and try to fix it. It automatically should be able to. Again, this one feature that I think, Lovable can build. If you see an error, just go ahead and automatically fix it. Until this say like you try 2 times and it does not work, then maybe ask the user for more. It would be cool because I'm just clicking that button first time. So if until 2 times, you should try it automatically. Okay, perfect. This is looking amazing, right? So you have complete Google as an asset class. I can add an additional investment. So let's say I add another $500. And the best thing is I'm not selected like which date and everything. So you can even put like, in future, let's say in 10th January, you are going to invest and then you want to add it right now. You can just put that here. And then it shows the total invested value in Google stocks. And then you can come here, edit and edit the current value. So the current value, let's say $1,500. When you update the investment, it will show you 130% return. And that's super good, right? You have the XIR and CAGR will get calculated because it needs the more than a year value. So if I start adding and change this 2023, right, it should work based on my basic mathematical skills, right? So again, if I just go click back, right? So 22 and update investment, yeah, should start showing a CAGR. Obviously, then the XIRR, some things will get messed up, but at least it can show. If you have not invested so much money and it has not worked out, then the CAGR is negative. Technically, again, I have to still check the maths on this, right? So again, don't go, but it's work. So again, awesome, perfect. Let's go. Right. I just want to maybe test this for crypto also, right? And then Bitcoin, I want to see cryptocurrency, right? Initial 100, right? Monthly contribution, I can set that, right? $20. Or let's say current value is $150, add investment. So you can see starting the total value of investment. And then I can come here and add an investment of $150 and then again select maybe future. And then you can see now this return will be probably negative because I add 50. So you have to go ahead and update this particular thing here also. So what is the current value, right? So current value is like now 150, but it might be 50, 120 or something like that. You can start seeing the CAGR and XIR. This is pretty good. The only thing I want to quickly do is select which part you want to edit for every card. Bring in a beautiful icon. I want to make sure that every card has an icon. It looks super flat and this is looking super good now. It's finally coming together. Right? If all the errors wouldn't have, I'm sure this would have done. That's part of building stuff and that's super interesting. I think if I start adding some real values, it will start changing this. The only thing left is we need to get this dollar thing to change into dollars. I can also see this is not super aligned, right? So you have $800 here, you have 220 here, 72. But it's like because of this particular line, this card is looking like, a bit down. So let's see how we can switch that. Done that. You can see stocks, crypto. Perfect. Let's try something like real estate. Does it show a house option? Right. So let's say I bought a house, initial amount is 15,000, right? It's looking better, right? You have all the asset classes. You can keep adding that. You can see when you added that investment. This is amazing. I really, really, really love this, right? And that's like, again, that's what I wanted to create. And this is looking much better. Now, let's come back to the dashboard, right? Now, bring everything from all the options, which is portfolio, to budget, and goals into dashboard in a beautiful format. to showcase complete overview of personal finance. Right? I'm just typing this. It's going to take another 2 to 3 minutes to code it. We'll just keep waiting and see how it comes together because it has to bring in everything from every other page. I'm doing this. And then we're going to implement the backend stuff. I added some demo data and let me move myself up so you can see the whole thing. The dashboard has the data, right? I added some dummy values in the portfolio. So you have the portfolio values, the budget is there, the goals are there. You can improve the goals, like how much is the remaining amount. I don't want to do that because I need to start refreshing everything and I want to start building the backend now. So you can start seeing like, this is looking great, right? The goal progress is there. You can see how much money you have, how much money you need to get, what is your budget breakdown. So if I go ahead and add like an expense into the budget, let's say I say groceries, and I can select a category need, and I'm saying, let's say I'm spending $1,000. Again, it's crazy, like random numbers. Don't spend, I don't know, you spend $1,000 on grocery, but again, this is just super fun, right? And you can start seeing what the budget needs breakdown looks like. This looks really good. Like, this is looking amazing, really lovely, and I'm super happy to build this. So let's come to the next, which is going to take us the most amount of time, build the back, right? Let's start Git Connect with Supabase, right? Now, another feature that I want to show you here, I don't want to start editing code. I just want to select, okay, chat. Because when I'm saying chat, I just want to talk to AI. I don't want to edit code right now. I want to come up with a complete plan to integrate all of this into Supabase. It's Supabase, which should have all the values linked to a person's profile, right? So that means very specifically, they should be allowed to sign in only using Google, and finally, be able to see all their data. All the data should be added into Superbase. I wanted to start creating a plan on how we're going to connect this to Superbase. In my case, that's probably been the one thing that I've faced problems on. And it's going to finally start creating the complete database structure. And then I can just simply say, let's connect this whole thing, right? I don't want to use Google OAuth. Superbase already has the Google OAuth. So let's see how we can just link that together, right? Perfect. Looks amazing. Awesome. Again, it has already created a whole flow and now it can start implementing. Always do this step when you're doing something different. When we're editing iteratively, you can just edit the code. But now we are moving everything to Supabase. Let's just ask it to create a plan and then we can say, you know, I just want to say one thing. I want to use Supabase option only to use Google sign. Take that into consideration and start integrating. Let me just click on that and let it start. That's the beauty of this technique. It will start working literally right now. And we'll show you how it connects with Supabase. You need an account on Supabase. So I've already connected that. But again, let's just start, right? So first we'll connect the project in Supabase. You can see multiple projects are here. I'm just going to click create new project. And then it takes me to a new place. Like the project name is going to be very simply Money Buddy. I'm going to type in a password. Okay, I've just typed in a password and I'm going to save it. Now, after typing the password, you can see it's setting up the project. And it's going to take a couple of minutes. So I'm just going to pause myself here. And then again, once it's all connected. Okay, perfect. Connected, right? I'm still getting connected. And we're going to use like the free tier of Supabase. Like again, I'm not paying for this. And that's the best thing. It's free. You can build tons of applications on this. God, for Lovable and Supabase to connect together. And like, it just help this build. Because building the backend takes much more effort compared to frontend, right? If you have not done this before, it will take you a long time to do this, or an extreme amount of tinkering around, and this just solves all of this problem. So I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes and come back. Perfect. Finally, we have got the Supabase thing done. I'm just going to come here and click on this connect, right? You can see my other applications, and then I'm just going to click connect and click connect here. And please connect my Supabase product. Right? Money Buddy, and I'm going to connect automatically. So again, naming convention, like I kept both of them Money Buddy, because when I'm going back to these applications, I just forget what one of them was for. So let's see. Going to take a moment. This part takes a lot of time. Nothing that you have to do. You just have to literally fiddle around and wait for it to do its own stuff. So I'm just going to pause myself here and wait for this to do and let's see how it goes. Okay, perfect. So I finally connected this and it took like around 5 minutes or so. Once you come here, let's start building a landing page and a sign-in option. The first thing that we talk about is always build the authentication first, because the authentication is the one thing that you really need to have. If people can't log in, like there is no point, right? And now if you start seeing the changes are different, right? It's not saying that you have to apply like to code, but you are actually applying everything to Supabase. Here you can start building your tables and your database editors and everything, right? You'll see the profiles being built, the tables coming. Just crazy to even imagine that it's automatically building all your database structures. It's just one table right now. And I'm not going to go into depth of this because it's a separate video where I'll be explaining what front end and backend is. And then you're going to build more stuff on top of this application to understand that, and you can become a full stack engineer without even coding ever in your life. And that's a crazy, beautiful thing to do. It has built us all the options. Now, but one thing you see, you have to configure Google Auth in your Supabase project, right? Now, I'm going to show you a quick way to do that. If you don't know how to do that, you can figure that out. One thing I really wanted to do is get rid of this. I just want to Google sign in because it's another pain to build in the authentication. It has a lot of issues. I just want to sign in with Google. I don't want to worry about handling people's email IDs and passwords. And that's just super great because Google rocks, right? So let's come to that. Hi. So we implemented the Google sign-in. It looks just like a button. And then the redirected URLs are there in case you want to change them, you can do that. But here it's really simple. We just created a beautiful landing page, put the sign-in on the corner that exists there. Then after that, I went into an error loop because I think on my end, there was some server issues. Now, all of this data that you're seeing on the right-hand side, I actually want people to be able to save this. I don't want people to every time come back and not be able to see what they've saved and repopulate all of this data. So what we said is very specifically, just go ahead and create the right database. I will create the necessary database structure and put all of that together, right? So you can see the command here, create the right database structure, save all the data, create all the API calls, X, Y, Z, all the things. Now, the way it was, all the SQL queries that are needed are already built by Lovable, and you have all those inputs available here, right? They already put all of this data. And again, you can see it's ton of information. You don't need to literally do anything, just review it. I obviously got multiple errors, but as I showed you, just keep clicking fix error and keep fixing the errors one after another. Now, I still want to show you a couple of things that we want to still do, right? So let's come down here. Now, one thing is one thing I don't like is I have the landing page, but it's not super beautiful. One thing is that I want to change. Second, the currency thing is still pending across the application. Give the user to change the currency overall. So they should have a simple settings page where they can, or instead of even a settings page, I can do something simpler where they should have a drop down on top of page, choose a different currency. Let's say so. That's it. I want to make sure that it's currency symbol. I don't want it to convert or do anything other than that. Remember this setting in the database when they log in. Right. So this is one. And then another thing that's having a problem, and I'll show you that is first we forgot to add a logout button. I can't log out. I have to close and refresh. I have to add a logout button. That's when you start seeing those small things left across because you're giving AI a lot of control. All of these missing things get logged for the new added the auths, but you forgot the logout. So perfect. Let's apply that. One more thing is you'll have to make sure that your commands are very direct. So it just keeps working on that. One thing you can see is it's executed these commands and then automatically has gone and started applying the code also. Automatically started applying the second part, which is actually showing this. Now, if you see here, I just refresh the page, right? And starts showing nothing here, right? So that's actually a problem. If you click portfolio and come back to dashboard, it starts showing up the net worth, right? So it's waiting for all of these pages to be loaded and to come back and then start showing. And that's not what you want. You want to see your financial dashboard as soon as you log in, right? So we have added a currency component on the refresh. I can't show you here. One problem is in the Lovable app, if you click sign in with Google, you can't see anything. It's not refusing to connect. I pinged them on Twitter to figure out what the issue is, but I'm just going to use this screen to see how you can see I want to switch to INR, currency preference updated. Does it switch? Something is happening, but no, did not work. I selected INR, but it still shows everything there. Let's refresh and see how it works. Maybe later on, always make sure that you test because you can ask it to change. It's not working, right? Because I've selected INR, maybe we should try euros. And one thing, this is just like me being a bit finicky and just want to test because I don't want to keep going back. If I select it, putting the data back to the system, updating my database, but it's not changing anything here, right? The database is getting updated, but the symbols on all the pages still shows up as US. Also ensure to add a logout button.
create a drop down menu with currency change global button on the right hand corner. Because the point is, I don't want it to be crowded on the top, right? These are some design changes that you can do, and that also helps. Just thinking through the application helps a lot. Just keep thinking through and how you make that application together, and it just works out really, really well. Okay, so the updates have come through. I just refreshed it to see how it actually looks. Right, it started to fix that, and it wasn't able to fix that. Now I want to save. Every time you are using Lovable, you are costing messages, right? So I want a 100 messages plan, which is their base plan that I can send 100 messages. I've already exhausted most of that, so I'm going to club a couple of features in a single message and see how it comes, right? And that's probably also one of the reasons why it's not working well. But that's something you have to consider unless you are running on a budget. Like unless you are not on a budget, then you can just buy more messages. But just till the time that this happens, I'll show you the plans they have. So you can see plans and billing, and you can see they have the $20 plan, which is the plan that I am on. And I can also see how many messages are remaining. They give you 5 free messages every day. And then after the 5 messages are exhausted, you get another. After that, I have 5 more messages left, which I really hope I'm able to use and close this project today. But $20 per month is the base plan, which I have. If you want more, that's 250 messages. You have to go to the $50 one. And then scale one, you can literally start going crazy. Like then it's just crazy. And you can get much bigger applications and much more also longer term application, because that's something that you have to take in mind when you are using this. So let's come here, build unsuccessful. Again, I'm going to select that and ask it to get it out on its own. Let's see what's actually happening here. So move the currency selector out of the code. Let's see how this looks. Updating the protected root component. Now I asked it to move out the currency selector because it was changing, how the way it was working and all of those things. And I added the logout button. I have to still test that. So let's test that in the meantime till it starts to fix the error. It's very interesting when you're building applications and you don't have to code. But that's very interesting when you think about it. Let me refresh this and see what's happening. Then I want to show you how to deploy this so anyone across the world can use it and you can create it. You can see the dashboard starts loading up automatically. I don't think it's still working. I selected euros. Let's see if it works. It's still loading. It's not working at all. Does it work for other values? Have we broken the application? The currency selector thing is not working. It's updating everything on the backend, but it's not showing up here. I'll have to see the code and go in depth about this. I'm pretty sure I can spend more time on this and figure it out. I want to save the messages, like 5 messages to one. Once you want to deploy this, it's super simple. I just have to click on publish and redeploy. Just click on deploy and you'll get a URL which you can share with anyone. So this is the live application. And whenever you are making some changes, just click on redeploy. So the new stuff also gets updated. You can see this is the old application, how it was looking, and this is the new version of it, which is much better, has a single sign-in and all of those things. I actually want to spend some time in making the landing page a bit better. This is just one of the options where you can use Lovable to create your amazing applications, share them with your friends, and create anything that you want. You can improve the landing page, showcase an example of the dashboard, add images, charge money for these applications if you want. People have started building some super cool applications. So again, this is just literally a tutorial, and just think of it as that. There is so much more you can do. Like we built this whole application, and I had an amazing time of fun just building it. Okay. So I'm looking forward to see you guys in the next one. Please, if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. It would help me a lot. And I would love to see you in the next one.